camera keeps tipping. It looks as if the earth is shifting, but it's only minorly within my control. I keep trying to fix it. It's not working. I'm not going to stress about it. Again, I'm going to borrow from Stoicism, the trichotomy of control. This is also taught in DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, though it's not called the trichotomy of control. There's also a prayer that essentially says the same thing. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. There's essentially three groups of things in the trichotomy of control. Things that you have no control over whatsoever, things that you have some control over, things that you have total control over. So the next time you find yourself anxiety prone, upset, frustrated, negative about a situation, a happening, a circumstance, anything, ask yourself this question. Which one of these three groups does this fit into? Is this something that is totally within my control? Is this something I have some control over, or is this something I have no control over? Oftentimes we spend our time worrying, stressing, getting upset over something that we have no control over. We have no control over the traffic, yet we get really frustrated with it. Things that we have no control over. If you have no control over this, there's no point in worrying about it because you can do nothing about it. So you can just let those things go. Train yourself to identify what you have zero control over and let it go. Because there's nothing you can do, so why stress, worry, frustrate, get upset about it? It's beyond your control. The things that you have total control over, you have two options. Accept it as it is and do nothing about it. Accept reality as it is, or change it. You do have a third option, which is what we typically pick, which makes us more unhappy. Guilt ourselves, beat ourselves up, resist it, get frustrated, such as, say you are a smoker and you want to quit, but you keep lighting up. That is in your total control. Even though you're addicted, you're the one and the only one who can pick that up and put that in your mouth or never do it again. It's totally in your control. And if you cannot change it in that moment, accept it as it is. Accept yourself as you are until you are not, until you are able to change. Or you could just beat yourself up every time you light up, hence lighting up, which is bad anyway, and beating the crap out of yourself while you're doing it, which takes any joy or pleasure out of the situation. Maybe that's negative reinforcement that's going to help you quit, but it's not good for your psychological health when you beat the crap out of yourself. Healthy eating, and you don't. So you beat the crap out of yourself because you picked the cake over the apple. What you put in your mouth is totally in your control. You can do something different, or you can accept it for what it is. So I just had a piece of cake. Whatever. Let it go. Or you can do something different the next time. And those things that are somewhat in your control, do what you can. Accept what you can't. And be wise enough to realize what you can and cannot control. A job interview is a good example of this. You can be extra prepared. You can research the company ahead of time. You can have prepared questions that show that you have researched the company ahead of time. You can prepare your dress and have everything laid out ahead of time. You can rehearse your interview ahead of time. You can have multiple copies of your resume ahead of time. You can review your resume ahead of time. You can be very prepared. to give the best interview of your life. That's within your control. Now, whether they hire you or not, that's not in your control. Whether it goes well, whether it goes over with them well, that's not within your control. So you have to let go of the things that are not within your control in those gray areas. So when you find yourself disquieted, uncomfortable, upset, frustrated, angry about something, anxious, worried, stressed, in distress, ask yourself, which one of the three groups this falls into? Something I cannot control, nothing you can do, well, there's nothing you should be doing about it. No worrying, no stressing, no frustrating. It's beyond your control. It is what it is. Totally in your control. Accept it as it is without added layers of emotionality and other tactics, because it is what it is, or change it. And then in the middle, try to identify what you can do and do those things, and what parts of it are outside of your control, and let those go. It'll allow you to take at least a third of the things that frustrate you and throw them away, which makes your life a lot lighter, and allow you to stop beating yourself up and adding pain and suffering on top of current existing problems that are within your control, that for whatever reason you are currently not at a place where you can address them. But much of what we get upset about is in that category of beyond our control. It's just life. And yet we have a reaction that we don't need to have. Or we worry, and we don't need to worry, because it changes nothing. So consider these three questions when you find yourself distressed. Can I control it? Can I kind of control it? Or is it completely out of my hands? And approach it appropriately. Good morning, goodbye.